At least 98 dead, including former MLB pitcher, in roof collapse at nightclub. Trump cancels hundreds of student visas, forcing rapid departures. President Trump signs executive orders aimed at reviving U.S. coal industry. Mysterious underwater pyramid reshapes history. Las Vegas Strip Casino closes country star's residency. Roof collapse at Dominican Republic nightclub claims at least 98 lives, including former MLB pitcher. The death toll has tragically risen following the collapse of the roof at a nightclub in the Dominican Republic during a live performance. According to General Juan Manuel Mendez, the director of the country's Emergency Operations Center, at least 98 individuals have been confirmed dead, and another 160 have sustained injuries as a result of the incident. The collapse occurred at the Jet Set nightclub in Santo Domingo, the capital of the Dominican Republic. National police have reported that search and rescue efforts are ongoing in the aftermath of the tragedy. The disaster struck at 12:34 a.m. on Tuesday during a performance by renowned Dominican merengue singer Ruby Perez. Authorities confirmed that the roof gave way in mere seconds during the event. Dominican Republic President Luis Abinader expressed his condolences on social media, stating, "We deeply regret the tragedy that occurred at the Jet Set nightclub. We have been following the incident minute by minute, and all relief agencies have provided the necessary assistance and are working tirelessly in the rescue efforts. Our prayers are with the affected families." Among the deceased was former Major League Baseball (MLB) pitcher Octavio Dotel, aged 51. Dotel, who was pulled from the rubble by rescue workers, tragically succumbed to his injuries while being transported to the hospital. Colonel Randolfo Rijo Gomes, the head of the Dominican Republic's 911 emergency services, confirmed the details. Dotel, who played for 13 MLB teams, including the New York Mets, was remembered by the team, who held a moment of silence in his honor before their game on Tuesday. The Mets posted on social media, "We mourn the passing of Octavio Dotel. Our thoughts are with everyone affected by the tragedy in the Dominican Republic." Dotel was notably part of a combined no-hitter against the New York Yankees in June 2003, a team he would join in 2006. Another former MLB player, Tony Blanco, 44, was also killed in the collapse. Blanco, a Dominican baseball player who had played for the Washington Nationals and professionally in Japan, was remembered by the Dominican Republic Ministry of Sports and Recreation, which praised his contribution to the nation's baseball history. The ministry shared, "We'd offer our prayers for his eternal rest and extend our condolences to his family, friends, and colleagues." Additionally, Montecristi Governor Nelcy Milagros Cruz Martinez, the sister of former MLB star Nelson Cruz, was among the victims. Nelson Cruz issued a statement expressing his grief over the loss of his sister, describing her legacy as one of service and love for others. In response to the tragedy, MLB Commissioner Robert Manfred Jr. stated, "Major League Baseball is deeply saddened by the passings of Octavio Dotel, Tony Blanco, Nelson Cruz, and all the victims of last night's tragedy in Santo Domingo. Our thoughts are with their families, friends, and the entire Dominican community." Many families were seen gathered outside the nightclub, searching for loved ones who had been inside at the time of the collapse, with DJ Shakurak sharing videos of the scene. Authorities have launched an investigation into the cause of the incident, with reports indicating that the nightclub had suffered fire damage in 2023. Trump administration revokes hundreds of student visas, prompting rapid departures. The Trump administration has revoked the visas of hundreds of international students across the United States, triggering a rushed departure for many affected individuals. Universities have reported that some students were forced to leave immediately, often after discovering that their visas had been canceled via the Federal Student Exchange and Visitor Information System, SEVIS, or through an unexpected text or email notification. Several universities contacted by the USA Today network declined to provide specific details about the visa cancellations, citing student confidentiality concerns. Immigration experts have expressed concern, noting that such sweeping changes to the process of hosting international students are unprecedented. The National Immigration Project has challenged the visa cancellations, which have impacted students in states such as California, Colorado, Kentucky, Ohio, Michigan, Massachusetts, and Florida, among others. While the cancellations represent a small percentage of the estimated 1.5 million international students in the United States, they have sent shockwaves through the academic community. In some cases, visa revocations appear to be linked to minor issues, such as roommate disputes or traffic tickets. while in other instances, students have reportedly been targeted for their participation in pro-Palestinian protests. Len Saunders, a Washington state immigration attorney with 25 years of experience, stated, "I've never seen 300 students lose their visas." He went on to describe the cancellations as politically motivated, adding, "It's all political." To read that hundreds of people had their visas canceled out of the blue, it's clear what's going on. President Donald Trump campaigned on implementing stringent immigration controls, and some conservatives have raised concerns about students from countries like China allegedly using their studies in the U.S. to gain access to intellectual property. International students typically pay full tuition, as they are generally ineligible for financial aid, often subsidizing the cost for other students. California is home to the largest number of international students in the country, with popular majors including computer science, language studies, and business administration. Students from India and China account for roughly half of the international student population, according to federal data. While no central registry tracks the exact number of students whose visas have been revoked or their countries of origin, many of the affected individuals were reportedly involved in campus protests, particularly those from the Middle East. Saunders noted that although he has seen students lose their visas annually for offenses such as drunk driving, many were allowed to complete their studies. However, this recent round of visa cancellations has led to immediate departures, even for students close to graduation. At the University of Michigan, university officials are reportedly working to assist an international student in completing his architectural master's degree despite having to return to his home country. Unlike the targeted detentions of Columbia University graduate Mahmoud Khalil and Tufts University student Remisa Osturk, the current visa cancellations are not accompanied by detentions. Instead, affected students are being instructed to self-deport within 7 days, leading to scattered protests, including at the University of Arizona. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, in a recent statement, confirmed the revocation of at least 300 student visas, citing support for pro-Palestinian activism. He described the individuals as lunatics and stated, "We do it every day. Every time I find one of these lunatics, I take away their visas." Colorado State University reported that 6 students had lost their visas, with some being escorted to the airport by university officials. It remains unclear whether the affected students have the right to appeal their visa revocations. Kathleen Fairfax, Vice Provost for International Affairs at CSU, issued a statement saying, "To date, no specific justification for the visa revocations has been provided to the impacted individuals or CSU. We are working proactively with the students to help them connect with appropriate legal resources and understand their options." At the University of Massachusetts Amherst, Chancellor Javier Reyes confirmed that 5 international students had lost their visas. He urged other students to check their own visa status and announced that affected students would receive financial assistance through the university's Angel Fund. President Trump signs executive orders to revive U.S. coal industry. On Tuesday, President Donald Trump signed a series of executive orders aimed at revitalizing the coal industry, which has seen a significant decline in recent years. The orders focus on reversing efforts to limit coal production, a major energy source and contributor to pollution, with a goal of revitalizing the sector. The executive mandates direct federal agencies to identify and prioritize coal resources on federal lands, remove barriers to coal mining, and accelerate coal leasing. Additionally, President Trump instructed Interior Secretary Doug Burgum to acknowledge the termination of the Jewel moratorium, which had paused coal leasing on federal lands, and ordered the rescinding of policies that aim to transition the United States away from coal. He also called for the inclusion of coal-fired power plants in the nation's electric grid. In a ceremony at the White House East Room, where Trump was joined by coal miners in hard hats, he declared, "We're bringing back an industry that was abandoned." He added, "We're ending Joe Biden's war on clean coal once and for all." The executive actions are part of Trump's broader efforts to undo climate and environmental regulations put in place under the administration of former President Joe Biden. The new orders are designed to prevent the closure of coal plants, including the Chala Power Plant in Arizona, which is scheduled to shut down this month. Trump directed Energy Secretary Chris Wright to intervene and ensure the plant's continued operation. "We're going to keep those coal miners on the job and tell them to just remain calm," Trump said, "because we're going to have that plant opening and burning the clean coal, beautiful clean coal, in a very short period of time." Despite environmental concerns about coal, particularly its role as a major emitter of carbon dioxide, Trump repeatedly praised beautiful clean coal, a term often used by the coal industry. The environmental impact of coal, including its contribution to carbon dioxide emissions, is well documented, with coal burning accounting for approximately 20% of the U.S. carbon dioxide emissions in 2022. The President's executive orders represent a significant setback for environmental organizations that have worked to reduce coal production and curb its impact on climate change. Rachel Hamby, policy director for the Center for Western Priorities, criticized the actions, saying, "Donald Trump is hell-bent on dragging the United States back to the 19th century, complete with robber barons, smokestacks, crippling tariffs, and measles. The free market has already made it clear that renewable energy sources are a cheaper and healthier path to meet America's energy needs," Hamby added. Coal production in the United States has been steadily declining since the 2000s. In 2023, the U.S. produced less than half the amount of coal it did in 2008. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, coal accounted for 55% of carbon dioxide emissions from the electric power sector in 2022. The 5 largest coal-producing states in the U.S. are Wyoming, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, and Illinois. Trump's signing ceremony included U.S. representatives, Republican senators, and governors from these key coal-producing states. Mysterious underwater pyramid near Japan raises new questions about ancient history. A submerged structure near the Ryukyu Islands of Japan, known as the Yonaguni Monument, continues to captivate researchers and challenge conventional understanding of ancient civilizations. Discovered in 1986, the monument sits approximately 82 feet below sea level, just off the coast of Taiwan, and features sharp-angled steps, leading many to speculate that it may be a man-made pyramid. Standing around 90 feet tall, the Yonaguni Monument appears to be composed entirely of stone, sparking debate among scholars about its origins. However, tests on the structure's stone have shown it to be over 10,000 years old, suggesting that if it was constructed by humans, it would have been built before the region was submerged, more than 12,000 years ago. This challenges the established timeline of ancient human civilization, placing the structure's creation far earlier than other well-known monuments, such as the Egyptian pyramids and Stonehenge. Current archaeological consensus holds that large-scale construction projects like temples and pyramids only became feasible around 12,000 years ago, with the advent of agriculture. If the Yonaguni Monument was indeed built by an advanced civilization prior to this time, it could rewrite history, offering evidence of a lost human society similar to the mythical Atlantis. The site has recently garnered widespread attention after a heated debate over its origins on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. Archaeologist Graham Hancock, a proponent of theories surrounding lost civilizations, and Flint Dibble, a skeptic, debated the structure's artificiality. Hancock argued that the monument displays clear human-made features, such as arches, megaliths, steps, terraces, and what appears to be a carved rock face. Dibble, however, dismissed the structure as a natural formation, stating, "I see nothing here that reminds me of human architecture." This ongoing debate highlights the divide among researchers over whether the monument is a product of human hands or a remarkable natural formation. Dr. Masaki Kimura, the scientist who tested the age of the monument's sandstone, believes that it was once located on dry land, before rising sea levels submerged it at the end of the last ice age. Kimura's findings suggest that the structure could date back more than 10,000 years, offering further evidence that it was built before global sea levels rose following the melting of massive ice sheets. If the Yonaguni Monument is indeed man-made, it would join other ancient structures, such as Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, as evidence of advanced societies existing long before previously accepted historical timelines. Göbekli Tepe, which dates back to around 9500 BC, is considered one of the world's oldest known temples and predates the Egyptian pyramids by over 5,000 years. Similarly, Gunung Padang, an ancient site in Indonesia, could predate both the Yonaguni Monument and Göbekli Tepe. Rediscovered in 1890, the site features a submerged megalith and is believed to be over 16,000 years old, further challenging the traditional view of ancient civilizations. Despite these intriguing findings, some experts remain unconvinced. Dr. Robert Schoch of Boston University has suggested that the Yonaguni Monument may simply be a natural rock formation. Schoch's analysis pointed to similarities between the monument and nearby geological formations, noting that the area is prone to earthquakes. He argued that the fractures and flat surfaces forming the so-called steps could be the result of natural processes rather than human engineering. The regularity of the stone faces and the sharp angles may create the illusion of artificial construction, Schock said in his 1999 report, which sought to cast doubt on the theory of a man-made pyramid. The debate over the Yonaguni monument remains unresolved, with further research needed to determine whether this enigmatic structure is a relic of a lost civilization or a natural geological formation. Las Vegas Strip Casino concludes country star's residency. The Las Vegas Strip has long been a popular venue for country music's biggest stars, many of whom have graced its stages for long-running, sold-out residencies. While some residencies continue, others have recently come to a close. Country music legends have had a significant presence in Las Vegas, dating back to the spring of 1959 when Western swing star Bob Wills and his Texas Playboys performed at the Showboat Hotel and Casino. In the early 1960s, country icon Patsy Cline became the first woman to headline a country show on the Strip, with a 35-day engagement at the Mint downtown. Other prominent figures in country music, including Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash, Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton, Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, Brooks and Dunn, with Reba McEntire, George Strait, and Lady Antebellum, now known as Lady A, have also performed in Las Vegas over the years. Recently, several high-profile residencies have come to an end. Country star Luke Bryan concluded his engagement at Resorts World on January 6, 2024, while Miranda Lambert closed her Velvet Rodeo residency at Planet Hollywood on April 6, 2024. Additionally, Keith Urban finished his residency at Fontainebleau's Blue Live Theater with performances in October 2024 and February 2025. Legendary country singer Garth Brooks wrapped up his sold-out 54 show, plus one residency at Caesars Entertainment's Coliseum at Caesars Palace on the Las Vegas Strip on March 8, 2024. Brad Paisley has extended his one-man, six-strings residency at the Encore Theater at Wynn Las Vegas with two additional shows scheduled for May 9 and 10, 2025. Kenny Chesney is set to bring his full-tilt brand of American music to Sphere Las Vegas, making his debut as the venue's first country residency. His 15-show engagement will take place in May and June 2025. One of the most highly anticipated closures is that of country superstar Carrie Underwood's Reflection, the Las Vegas residency at Resorts World Theater. Underwood's residency, which began on December 1, 2021, will conclude with performances on April 9, 11, and 12, 2024. The 71-show engagement has been a major success, with many performances at the 5,000-capacity venue selling out. Tickets for the remaining shows range from $38 to $250, with resale prices for the closing night reaching up to $1,500. Underwood, an 8-time Grammy Award winner, expressed her gratitude for the residency's success. "I have absolutely loved performing in Las Vegas over the past 3 years," she said in a statement. "I am so proud of the Reflection production, which is truly one of my favorite shows to perform. It's been so special to reflect on the greatest hits that have defined my career so far and to get to share them with the fans that come to Vegas from all over the world." With 85 million records sold worldwide and 29 No. 1 singles to remain, Underwood remains the most awarded woman in country music for singles in RIAA history.